So, this video is going to be for my day ones. I feel like sometimes I need to come in and make videos that I know that people that really fuck with me will be interested in. I wanted to talk about my childhood, how I came up, the psychology, the programming of how I came up. If you're looking at the still picture here and you're like, what the fuck is this? My grandmother is like the family museum, Smithsonian. She keeps every single thing that his pictures, everything. She keeps it all. Alright, my grandma got, work. I made hundreds of them from when I was in grade school. Report cards from when I was in grade school. Grandma got them. Grandma and them be having the stuff. These be keepsakes to grandma and them. My grandma had this picture. It's a newspaper article from when I was in the 6th grade and I won a math competition. And the Shelby Gazette put us in the paper. As you can see, I'm the little black dot off in the corner, you know. Now I would have a problem with this fucking picture. At the time I did not. When I was coming up in grade school and even up through middle school, typically in my classrooms while I was at school, I was going to be surrounded with a lot of white folk. Because I was deemed academically gifted, even though I never saw myself as such. I just did my work. It came easy to me. You know, it was what it was to me. So they would pluck me out of classrooms, of course, stick you in these special academically gifted classes. And in those classes, I was surrounded with white folk. Surrounded with white folk. Now, I lived in impoverished areas in the country part of Shelby. I lived in Light Oak. Some of you may know of it. Some of you may not. I'm sure many of you don't. But that's the impoverished country area of in Shelby, North Carolina. That's where I was. And when I was at school, I was treated special. Being surrounded by these white folk, a black child can develop an inferiority complex. A lot of you parents don't factor this in when y'all are shipping your kids off to live around predominantly white folk. You can develop an inferiority complex not because somebody's calling you a nigger. No. I never was nobody sitting around calling me a nigger to my face. But what they will make you feel like is that you better than other black folk. Oh, you one of the good ones. Because I was able to crunch these numbers, make these grades. And see, I never felt inferior based on academics. Because in my mind, how I saw it was, hell, I'm making the same or even higher grades than these white folk that I was around. So I never felt inferior on an intellectual level. But their lifestyles, I envied that. Because when I was going home, I may be hungry. Lights may be turned the fuck off. Gas may be turned the fuck off. Water, something might be off. I'm having to wash clothes in the bathtub and shit. Dry them in front of the oven. So their economic position made me envy them. Because in my mind, I'm like, well, if you got white skin, then shit, you ain't having to worry about lights being turned off. And at this time, I loved going to school. Because I know I was going to get me some food. I know all I had to do was go and be smart. And I was going to be treated special. It made me believe the other black folk was just dumb. Because that's how they will make you think. When you look around, you see all these white kids and you're the only black kid. And it's basically the teachers will be like, well, why come the other black kids can't be like you? We need more of you. And you internalize that. I hated going home. Even though I lived around black people, even in the country, there was other poor black people that you live around. And I used to visit my white friends. I had 2 white homeboys when I was up here at going to Crest Middle School. Some of you may be familiar with Crest. In Shelby. I used to go to their house, man. I used to be like, what the fuck? These motherfuckers got it made. I ain't hungry. Everything on, everything functioning. Talk to their mamas any old type of motherfucking way. I used to be like, what the fuck? I had a homeboy that was what we call so-called Italian, which ain't number white folk from Italy, but this motherfucker talk to his mom. I used to be like, what the fuck? How are you getting away with this shit? Close the door in her face, get out of here. I used to be like, man. Now I knew I couldn't take that shit back to my mama. Who trying to be homeless in ain't nobody trying to be homeless in middle school. Like that's not the goal. You're already poor with a roof over your head. You damn sure don't want to be outside. And my mama made me believe that she would put me out. She made me believe it, whether she was telling the truth or not. I believed it. I knew I couldn't function like this. I might want to function like this. You might want to be able to be like, Mom, shut your ass up. You know what I'm saying? But you don't want to be homeless. Well, first killed, I guess. First possibly killed, and then if you survive, you live outside now. So it's you just don't want to do that. I knew better than that, regardless. But this is how I came up. Being in smart classes around these white folk. This was K through 6th grade. Things changed. Because we moved from the country. Moved from me going to a predominantly white school to the city of Shelby, the inner city. Because if you live in an impoverished area in the country, it's different when you live in impoverished areas in the city. You're dealing with a whole different ideology. Because the black people that lived around in the country, they will be poor. Some of them poorer than even me. But their attitudes were different about being poor. They had a completely different attitude. And some of you that grew up in the country in impoverished areas understand that some of you that made the transition both ways. You done been in the country poor, you done been city poor. It's different. And there was no haven for me at all once I moved to the city. Wasn't no haven, you living in poverty and then you're going to end up going, then you get to go to school and be around these good white folk and go to their house sometime and hang out with them, all while developing inferiority complex, thinking that, if you white, it's going to be all right. Mom moved us out to the city. And let me tell you something. I went to, this is when I went to Shelby Middle School. We moved it to West Shelby. When you live around black folk in the city, it's different, y'all. The way they talk is different. The way they view things it's just different. And what I knew very quickly was that being smart is one thing. But if you be smart around a whole bunch of black folk, they're going to feel like you think you better than them. They're going to feel like that. You think you better than me. So I used to hide my grades. I didn't let them know what I would do, what I was making on my test. As per when I was going in the white classes, AG classes, everybody showed their grade. It was basically a competition. Look what I got, bitch. But you can't do that in no black school. In the city. You can't do that unless you want to be targeted. Now you got motherfuckers trying to make you do their homework, copy off your paper. If you don't let them copy off your paper, they want to fucking fight you. You know, you got shit like that going on. So you have to play the role a little bit. I learned this very quickly. Well, shit, I'm going to have to play dumb a little bit for these motherfuckers. And even answering questions in class, motherfuckers thought I was smart. I said, they didn't necessarily know my test score. I could just answer questions. That led people to want me to help them with their little work and shit like that. Well, you know, you seem like you know what the fuck going on. Then you have motherfuckers asking what you made. I did all right. You know what I'm saying? I did okay. What you make? A D. I always make D's. I was like, what the fuck D's, nigga? You making D's? And your mama ain't murdered you or nothing? You just... Okay. And you got on the nicest clothes and shoes. And one thing about city... When I learned about black city kids and even inner city parents... They might be poor, but they gonna have some fashion. They gonna have them some clothes and shoes and shit like that. They might not give a fuck about their grades and all that shit. They gonna have material. I didn't have material. I never had material. But the difference between being at a mostly white school, when you go to a mostly black school, they gonna make fun of your ass for not having material. It's some sad shit. They gonna make fun of your ass. So what you better learn how to do is either have a thick skin or roast their motherfucking ass back about other shit. I developed a thick skin. I never wanted to rub it in their face how much more smarter and how much better grades I made than them. Because what I learned about them is they might not have the academic smarts in the inner cities. But the people y'all make fun of, the Pookies, the Ray Rays, the Sharkeishas, and all these motherfuckers y'all make fun of, they have other types of life intelligence. They know how to make it through sticky situations. And this is why I hate when people look down on the hood people. People from the hood. Because to me, that's where I came from. I just so happen to have the academics as well. And that's why I also take my hat off to children who live in the hood, who still make good grades. Because I know what it's like to go take a test with my motherfucking stomach growling and still make an A. I know what that's like. I know what type of pressure that could put on you. To be going home to no lights and shit and still making good. I know what type of pressure that could put on you. So my hat's off to those kids. Not getting help from their mamas. My mama didn't help me with no damn homework. She was too busy working and being tired from working. And tired from struggling. She wasn't trying to look at no goddamn algebra. No, I ain't get no help. I understand the struggle. Especially when you're the oldest kid and you got to take care of everybody else too. Maintain a household. I know what that's like. So to make good grades in that situation, I take my hat off to those kids. I take my hat off to you if it's you listening to this right now. If this was you. Hats off to you. Much respect to you because I know what it is. And black folk, if you smart and you in the inner city, you got to hide this shit from them because they're going to think you better than them. But I had to learn how to be quote unquote hood real quick. Because you develop things when you living in impoverished areas in the country. You learn how to defend yourself. Stand up for yourself. But these are people that being surrounded with by these white folk, and how these white folk made me feel I was better than them anyway. So the fact that I had to, I kind of hated having to hide my intelligence. Hated knowing that, I might have to fucking fight if I ain't want to do a motherfucker's homework. I'd be damn if I'm doing a motherfucker's work for him. I wasn't going to be that type of motherfucker. But you may end up having to fight over this shit. And stand up for yourself. Learn how to roast motherfuckers. I didn't have the material, so they made fun of me for not having the material. But when you're growing up in the hood, in the city, you dealing with all types of elements. I remember having a gun put to my head when I was a kid by another kid. For nothing. I mean, I didn't have nothing to jack. I didn't break down. I didn't tell my mama nothing like this. Didn't become no little bitch, start crying, nothing like that. You have to develop a thug mentality to be able to stand up for yourself. Now what they call now is bullying. A lot of this shit was goddamn, it was terrifying. It could be terrifying. But you have to develop in this environment. And what you learn is that these motherfuckers might not have much sense. You learn that real quick. But them motherfuckers knew how to make it. If they ain't hardly had shit, and knew how to be poor as fuck and still be flashy. Like, it was something that was, it blew my mind. Because then I came from the country. I mean, you poor, you poor. You know, you ain't really buying a whole lot of shit. You know, you poor. But in the city, motherfucker would be poor and be flashy. Be dumb as hell, but flashy. Would take your shit. They felt like you had more than them. Nobody was never trying to jack me or nothing like that. Because I ain't had shit. But what I learned was, if I wanted some shit, I'm going to go take it. I used to steal. I would go take clothes. Hell, I used to get up every morning before school. This was so crazy. Before I went to school, I would go down to the grocery store. Steal a whole bunch of candy and shit. Candy, bubble gum, all types of shit. And go to school and sell it. And use that money to buy me and my brother some food. We used to go to the Hardee's all the time. Always up at the Hardee's. Getting us some food. But I still don't know why the fuck they didn't catch me. Like, I was young as hell, middle school, only black kid in the store, taking all this shit, not buying a goddamn thing. Not buying a goddamn thing. Never knew why they wasn't on me. Never knew why they didn't catch me. Don't know what the fuck was going on. But I would steal some shit. Would. So, stealing shit, be in the hood, develop hood mentality, develop hood lingo. That's why when I'm able to go back and forth right now, people are like, well, what the fuck? How? Well, this is how I came up. And I learned to respect black people. Because of the things that they were able to do, the areas that they were able to live in, the stress they was able to take on and still exist and still smile. I was like, what the fuck? As I'm being roasted, as I'm being roasted like a motherfucker for not having the material shit. But the one thing I had is, motherfuckers thought I was funny as hell, and I would still have chicks trying to holler at me and shit. So, you know, a lot of motherfuckers develop hate right here when black folk give them a hard time when they coming up. A lot of us develop hate for one another. And I developed more hate for black folk when I was going to school surrounded by white folk. Because they made me feel like I was better than other black folk. You see. But in these black areas, no. And did whatever I had to do to make it. I would steal some shit. Yeah. Would. Steal some shit, be poor, maintain a household, go to school, make straight A's, and still have to blend in and learn the hood. Because they got a lot of sense. A lot of people look down in the hood, but common sense, you develop in the hood. Common sense, you develop being poor. A lot of motherfuckers may have intellectual knowledge and wherewithal. They can pass the test. Make high grades on the SATs. But common sense is developed in struggle. I don't give a damn. I'll argue against anybody. It's developed in struggle. Because you'll have a whole lot of smart, rich motherfuckers that ain't got a bit of common sense. Because you got to learn common sense in the hood. Because you got motherfuckers that are trying to get over on you. So you got to learn how to spot out. Yo, you can tell when you grew up in the hood like this, you can tell when something criminal about to happen. It ain't even happened yet. It's about to happen. You know when some bullshit about to go down. You know when somebody trying to get over on you because you learn. You learn when a motherfucker trying to get over on you. You learn how to get over on other motherfuckers. There's a psychology to this shit that you can't develop nowhere but in the hood. Ain't nowhere else you can get it. Ain't no training nowhere else. The hood. It bothers me so much that we look down on so-called hood people. People from the hood. Black folk from these areas. Like they chose to be there, first of all. But we act like these people stupid. Now, academically, they may not be great. Because they're dealing with so much other stress. So much other stress they're dealing with. But they know how to make it, y'all. They know how to fucking make it. We know how to make it. We ain't crying over every little. We ain't broke down about every little thing. Cause we done been. We ain't had no lights. Ain't had no food. We not about to break down and goddamn go through some type of goddamn depression or want to kill ourselves over every little thing that happened. No. Cause you was raised in the fire. And what you learn how to do is put the fire out. And smile anyway. That's what you learn how to do. This is how I came up. So when people are, I see people say, well, damn, I can tell you smart as hell, but you still be on some hood shit without this cussing and shit like that. I'm like, well, that's how I came up. This was normal to me. In the country, when I would be outside and shit like that, you learn how to manage the wilderness. I'll call it that. You learn how to be crafty with your hands. We used to make slingshots and all types of shit out there. Do all types of little wild shit. Be all in the woods and shit. These kids these days, ain't no kids going to no goddamn woods. They not going no damn woods. We be out in the woods, fucking with animals and all. We used to do all types of shit out in the country. Poor as hell. Finding ways to entertain ourselves in the country. It's different in the city. Hell, I had my fucking house broke into while I was in the city. While we was there. Scared as a bitch. My mom wasn't there at the time. Scared as a bitch. We hid. I got me, my brother, got my sister, and I hid us under my damn bed. The bitches rolled the TV out there like it was theirs. The city. And I would hang with, some of the people I hung with, they had way more than me. Some of their parents sold drugs. My mama wasn't selling no damn drugs. She wasn't no fiend or nothing like that. So they had more stuff than me, some of the people I hung with. And I would go over their motherfucking house and just be like, what the fuck? They got all this shit. Grays is trash, though. Grays trash as fuck. They getting everything, though. Like, what the fuck? You getting every goddamn thing in your grades is stupid trash. I couldn't understand it. Still don't understand it to this day. But, I hung with people. I hung with what some would deem as thugs. There were times where I was a goddamn thug myself. And it's the way that y'all use thug. Because I don't use thug the way everybody else use thug. But the way people use thug, hoodlum and all this shit, I didn't have to do some thugging. But the thing, when people be talking shit about, they'll talk shit about me and stuff like that. And they'll say I got some type of goddamn criminal record. I don't have a record. Now, I've been arrested. But I don't have no fucking criminal record. I ain't got no felonies or no shit like that because I was smart enough to not get caught. I was intelligent enough not to get caught. I was intelligent enough to be able to do some hood shit, do some thug shit, and not get caught. That's how I managed. Now, I done did some shit. I'm not about to get on here like this goddamn Vlad interview and tell y'all what I done did and how these motherfucking feds knocking them out of the goddamn door. That's not going to happen. But what I will say is I done did some shit. I done had to do some shit. But this is two different environments that I'm raised in. And then once I left from living in Shelby, we moved out to Gastonia, which is more of a city-country mix, really. City-country mix. This is when I'm up in high school. And still, school and being smart, that was easy. That was the easy part for me. That was nothing for me. Someone have deemed me some type of a geek or whatever, but I had that hood shit in me too. Because that's where I came from. I came from poverty. I came from the hood. Because I had both things. I can use complete sentences, help you with your homework or your book report, But if you want to get into some thug shit, we can get into some thug shit too. It is what it is. That's how I came up. Being surrounded by these white people early on in life affected my psyche. I changed when I was surrounded by black folk. When I grew up, when that became my new normal, was being, well, you ain't gonna go to school and be surrounded by white folk. You would be around black folk no matter what. You're around black folk no matter what. Ain't nowhere to go. But that's how I developed my balance. That's why I can do both things. I know the goddamn lingo. I done did all the shit. I done been a part of some bullshit. Some criminal shit is what some would deem criminal shit. I know all this shit already. When people talk shit about the hood, what they fail to talk about is the character you can build within this hood. Because it took for me to be surrounded by black people to develop a love for black people. I love my motherfucking people, even though they was roasting me, stealing from me, fighting on me. Even though all this shit was going on, I developed a love for my people in this situation. That's just how it happened for me. Everybody not the same, and I understand that. But I was able to get chicks and stuff, so, you know. Poor as a bitch. Didn't have shit, but I was always able to communicate. And people thought I was hilarious. I mean, motherfuckers thought I was funny as hell. Motherfuckers would think I was funny as hell. And that helped me be cool with a lot of people. I always hung around. I wanted to be around grown folk. Now, you know, when you live in a black house, your mom ain't gonna let you just sit around grown folk. Get out of grown folk bed, man. You know how they are. But shit, I would hang with other grown folk. Listen to grown people. These motherfuckers in the hood, shit like that. These grown, older people, I always was attracted to them. I always loved their stories. I always loved what they had to offer to the conversation. I always did. So I came up with an old spirit on me. But man, I'm telling you, I done came up any type of way you can come up as a black person in this country, except for rich. The rest of the ways I done did it. Never been rich. Never nothing like that. But I done came up in this shit. So, you know, when you're trying to understand, well, why the fuck it seemed like you so smart, but then you be on some old other shit too, it's because I understand. And I also understand that we cannot leave behind the so-called hood. That's where your warrior class is. It's where they are. When they come to recruit for the military, that's where they going. That's where your warrior class is. That's where your fight is. Now, a lot of our people in these areas look towards each other to find that enemy. They don't understand who their enemy really is. But that's where your warrior class is. So you cannot leave behind the hood. You can't. You don't have a warrior class without them. You do not. People coming up in those environments, in that environment, that's where your warrior class is. So you can't shame them. You can't try to write them off. You could try to correct some of their decisions. But I understand how poverty can make you do crime. I was stealing. Not because I wanted to steal, but because this is the way I knew, okay, if I ain't got it, I need it, I'm going to steal it. Well, I'm going to steal this and sell it and make some money. So we can eat. I'm hungry. I understand how poverty can lead to crime, and they understand this shit too. But I didn't get to choose where I was born. I didn't get to choose where my mama moved to, based on whatever she had going. I didn't get to choose that. I had to adapt no matter where I was, and develop appreciation for it all. I appreciate the time I spent, surrounded in these classes of white folk. I appreciate it in hindsight because I was able to study them motherfuckers, see how they move, see how the white teacher talk to the smart black kid, see how they try to make you feel. Go to the hood, understand my people, the psychology, why they develop these certain defense mechanisms, why they have to be so quote unquote hard, what it takes to survive. Because if you show a sign of goddamn weakness, they own your ass. And will be on your ass. So in hindsight, I appreciate all my experiences. And the way I came up. Because now I know how to make it. If I get fucked up off in some woods or something, I ain't scared. I came up in the woods. You put a test in front of me, I ain't scared. I've been acing tests all my life. You throw me in the hood, some thug shit going on, and we can get into that too. It is what it is. It molded me into who I am. And I appreciate it all. And I appreciate y'all for listening to this video. I know this probably wasn't, necessarily no subject matter or nothing like that, but I just wanted to, come here and tell my story a little bit. At least a little bit of my story. I mean, I could sit here and tell specific story all day long. I could do this shit all day, all night. Specific stories about my life and shit like that. But I wanted to come in here and share this so you'll get more of an understanding of who I am and who I'm still becoming. Because through all of this that I went through, I didn't have no pro-black stance. I wasn't raised like that. You're not going to find it in no damn hood. You're not going to find it in the country. You're not going to find it surrounded by white folk wishing that you was living like they living. You ain't going to find it nowhere like that. That shit came later. And in high school was a whole different story. I still didn't have the material things everybody else had and stuff like that. But I was my own person. I wasn't as poor, But, I didn't have what everybody else had. Black people, like I said, our parents raised their kids to put a lot of investment in material things and vanity. That's where the bulk of our stock is, typically, which is sad, but that's how it is, But man, I done experienced some shit. You know what I'm saying? I've experienced a lot of shit. A lot of my experiences are no different than a lot of other black people's experiences. You come through it, you go through it, you make it through it, you take the good out, you leave the bullshit, you take the good out of it and leave the bullshit in the past. I learned something from everything I've been through. I learned something from it all, especially now in hindsight when you get to think about it with a clear mind. You know what I'm saying? I'm more a mature mind. You look at all of it. And I appreciate everything I've been through. But I appreciate y'all for listening to this video again. I know it was long and it wasn't necessarily a topic. But, I put it out there. So that way I give you a little bit more insight on me. Understand why the language that I may use, how I may adorn myself, that's where I came from. And unlike a lot of you motherfuckers, I'm not going to get some smarts and then just turn my back on where I came from and try to be somebody else. Nah. I can mature and still hold on to my shit and not look down on my own people. I'm going to be hard on black people because it's a whole lot of dumb shit that we engaged in right now. But I'm not going to just turn my back on the hood, the so-called poor. I'm not going to do that. I can't do that. Because that's me turning my back on me. That's how I look at it. Y'all respect people that do this shit. that'll brag about how much money they got in your face and all this shit and where they live versus where y'all respect people to do that shit. That's because y'all motherfuckers is low self-esteem. Y'all think that shit okay. How you gonna talk about racism and shame people for being born in the hood? Like, I don't know how you do that. It doesn't make sense to me. But nonetheless, I'm gonna quit talking y'all goddamn head off. That's all the fuck I want to say. Shout out Team Rob. Y'all already know what the fuck it is. Mad love to anybody that made it to this point in the video. Like, share, subscribe. Y'all already know what it is. And I'm out.